It's review day. Today is review day. So what does that mean is happening next time I see you, which is Friday? Test, okay? So here's my plan. There are two different grades on this, two different test topics. The first one is exponents. So what I just passed out to you is a little exponent rules review. We're going to do it together. I'm going to give you your test review, give you like 20, 25 minutes to work on exponent rules, and then we're going to switch gears and go to polynomials and do a practice sheet together, practice there. I want you to see there's a lot of stuff on Canvas. The review itself is on Canvas as well as an answer key for us to check our work. On that, there is the intervention sheets are what we're going to work on. We're all going to do those together. And then there are quizzes over exponent rules and a Gim kit over polynomials if you finish. There's also a Jeopardy review game. I don't know that we're going to have time to play Jeopardy today, but we might kind of do that as a warm-up on test day just to kind of get our brains working before the test. But I want to make sure you have enough time to take it. So this is a lot. This has been a unit that there's a lot of rules. There's a lot of things we've kind of been going through. But I really think today we put it all together. We get ready to go. I need you to be with me. I need our head off the desk. Yes.
I need a pencil.
I don't have a pencil.
Like I had like 50 pencils in this account.
Does anyone have a pencil that he can borrow? I literally don't have any.
Oh, I knew it too.
Does someone have a pencil that they can borrow?
I know you got it.
Someone be a friend.
I think I have.
Thank you, Emma. Make sure that these get back to her. Can you make sure that they get back to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will in a minute. Okay? Do you have two?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You said both.
Appreciate it.
Those need to get back to her. Okay? All right, so here we go. Let's look at number one. Number one says to simplify. All of your rules are going to be to simplify. So here's what's nice about this sheet is there is some stuff on the side that kind of goes through each of the rules. Okay? So, and they're also on your formula chart, which is why I had you guys get these. Hello. Component rules are all on our formula chart. We need to know how to use that, okay? We've got the product rule, and I wrote some notes right here. When you have the product rule, you multiply the coefficients. What are coefficients? Big numbers or small numbers?
Anything like that. Big numbers, right?
Big numbers. Multiply the coefficients. These are the big numbers. And then add the exponents of the same base. And then the exponents are the small numbers, okay? So when we look at... And then there's the quotient rule, which says you divide the coefficients, which are the big numbers, and you subtract the exponents. And then there's the power rule, where we give everything an exponent and multiply outside, inside. So we just kind of put some notes for you about here's these different rules. What do you do? So this is kind of a breakdown for you that we typed out, okay? So let's go through these together. Again, I'm going to give you your review. And you're going to work on the exponent problems for like 20, 25 minutes. And then we're going to review polynomials. Okay? Number one. What rule are we going to use on number one? Product, quotient, or outside power?
Quotient.
Why?
Because it has like a fraction bar, so you know it's going to be like, it's a division.
Has a fraction bar, has a division problem. Does everyone understand that? Put a Q for quotient rule right here. Now look at the bullet points. Quotient rule says... you divide the coefficients, the big numbers. We're going to use alpha y equals for that. And then we subtract the exponents, or we call it tug of war. It's a little bit easier. So do we have coefficients on this problem?
Yep.
I just circled them. We're going to put them in alpha y equals. Alpha y equals, enter. 8 over 12. What does that reduce to?
8 over 12.
2/3.
2 over 3. Okay? It may reduce to a fraction. If it does, keep it. If it reduces to a whole number, that's in the top. That number is in the top. So I simplified my coefficients. I'm done with those. Now I'm going one base at a time. Zane, what's my next base?
It's going to be the A.
A. And I'm looking at the A's and I'm doing tug of war. Who's going to win, top or bottom?
Bottom.
By?
3.
So A to the 3 on the bottom. So check, check. Last base. Brayden, what's your last base? We did the numbers, we did the A's, so now we got to do the B's. What should I give this bottom B?
1.
Give it a 1. Make sure it has a 1 so you don't lose what is there. So, Brayden, who's going to win between the B's?
B5, top.
Top, B to the 5th. Are we done? One coefficient, one number, simplified all the way. 1A, 1B. Finished? Are we finished?
Yes.
Yes, check. Moving on. Okay? Number 2, again, simplify. These are the instructions. Just simplify it down. Okay, Heidi, what rule am I going to use here when they're side by side? Which one is side by side bases? Product of powers. So let's put a P-R-O because there's 2 that start with P. Product. On our notes, it says you multiply the coefficients, which are the big numbers, and you add the exponents. Do we have coefficients? Isa, do we have coefficients on number 2? What are they? The big numbers. What kind? And 4. So I'm going to multiply those because it's a multiplication problem. So negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. And then now I'm going to look at my x's. That's my next base. Miles, what am I going to do with my x's? Exponents. It's a product rule. So what am I going to do?
Add exponent.
Okay, so what's 2 plus 7?
2 plus 7 is 9.
Done. Okay, so when you really know these rules, they're not all that bad. All right, it's just a matter of, but you're not going to be given these words on the test. So this is something that I would be studying and I would be referring back to. Okay. All right, number 3. There's a fraction bar, but are we really going to be doing any sort of division here? Like there's only one number, 1A, 1B, 1C. So am I really going to divide anything? No, but Johan, can you tell me what I have here that I don't like? Negative sign on the, what's the only thing that can't be negative? Is negative 7 as a coefficient a problem? No. Is negative 4 as an exponent a problem? Yes. So our problem is having negative exponents, which we have 3 of them. Okay? But there's nothing wrong with negative 7. So I'm actually just going to leave negative 7 right there. And there's no other number to deal with. So I'm just going to leave that there. Okay? Look at your negative exponent rule. Let's read it. What does it say? Move negative exponents and the base to the other side of the fraction and make it positive. So right now, A has a negative exponent in the top. So Nick, where's A going to go?
On the bottom.
And then it becomes
Positive.
done.
Easy.
B has a negative exponent in the top. So where's it going to go? And become done. C has a negative. What?
Why are we?
Because these all have negative exponents. We don't like those. Okay? So Miles, C is in the bottom with a negative, so where's it going to go? In the top, make it. And that's all you can do. We've got one number, 1A, 1B, 1C. It was just a switcheroo, and then we're finished here.
Yeah, I thought C would be on the bottom, so.
No?
C's a negative, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a negative, we gotta make it go to the opposite place. So if it's on the bottom, it's gotta go to the
Top. Yeah, we can't leave a negative exponent. Okay? All right, let's look at 4 real quick. All right, we got a couple rules on number 4. First thing I see, and the first thing that we should take care of if we have, is an outside power. Mohammed, do we have an outside power here? On number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do outside power. How many outside powers do we have? 2. The first one is an outside power of 2. What's the second one an outside power of? 0. What's anything to the 0 power? Not 0.
Oh, I'm thinking of
1.
I'm thinking of times.
Okay? You are. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So this whole guy right here, 8xy4 to the 0 power, what is that whole thing?
1x,
Not 1x, it's just the number 1. Like the number 1 is right there. But do you have to write times 1?
Nope.
No. Okay? So we can just mark it out, but we really don't have to put that. But the whole thing, because it's attached to a 0, are you listening? Anything that's attached to a 0, I want you guys to get in the habit of marking it out because it is like times 1. And the only time you would have to write that is if there was nothing else left. Okay? So really, I only have outside power on the first guide to deal with. Okay? Now I want you to look at the notes that I did about the outside power. I said give everything an exponent. So on the inside right now, I need to give x an exponent of, if it's not written, what's it understood to be? 1. And then I also want to give the coefficient negative 3 an exponent of what? 1. You're going to have to do this on your test because I can't multiply an exponent times a coefficient. So I give it a 1, and then we multiply in. Now, we got to be careful. What is our coefficient exactly? What kind of 3 is it? And when we have negative coefficients, what do we need to make sure we keep them inside of? Parentheses. Okay, so go ahead and write that on your paper because that's how we're going to type it in our calculator. And what power am I going to actually bring this to? The second power, because it's outside 2 times inside 1. Okay? And then now let's look at x. This one we'll finish real quick. 2 times 1 again is 2. And then again, I don't have to write times 1. Okay, Isa? What do you get when you put negative 3 to the second power? Type it in your calculator with the parentheses.
9.
Power goes on the outside. Make sure you'll know how to type this, because if you don't type it right, it's not going to give you the right number.
If you don't use those parentheses, you're going to get the wrong number.
And if it's multiple choice, I guarantee you they're going to have an answer choice with the wrong number.
9.
You just type it exactly how you wrote it. Did you get it? Positive 9, right? Okay, if you don't use the parentheses, you're not going to get the right sign, so you have to be extra careful with that. And that's as far as we can go. Okay? All right, you guys try number 5. It's another outside power.
Can we use your notes to help us?
Yeah, of course. Today you can use your notes as much as you need. What did we get when we did number 5?
I got 16 Y 6.
How did you get 16? That is right. How did you get 16?
So I looked at the 4 and I was like, you know what? That needs a number on top of it.
It
so
sure
I put it on
does.
there.
Okay?
And then, I just kind of went to the 3, and then I times that 3 by the 2.
Okay.
Then I got Y6 or Y
2 to the 6.
to the 6.
Uh-huh.
And then now we're going back to the 4. I got it's gonna be 4 to the second because anything by 1 is just like
Itself.
itself.
And then did you put this in your calculator?
Yeah.
And that's how you got 16?
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Okay? And outside powers, if they are there, they need to happen first. Okay? So this was a little reteach that kind of went through the rules one at a time. Of course, we can have some rules where we do some combinations. So there's various levels of these. So I just passed out a review. And if you look at the review, the way that it's broken down by topic. So we're going to focus. I'm going to put up a timer. And we're going to focus on topic 1 right now. Exponent rules. So that is problems. Those are the first 2 pages. 15 problems for you. Okay? And I want you to get as much done. And 15 problems, you can skip around. But just focus on topic 1 right now. We're going to do topic 2, a little reteach together, and then do that there. I have an answer key to this. I will leave it up here if you need to go back to it and come and check stuff. But we're going to spend the next 25 minutes working on exponent rules only. Do you understand? Ready, set, go. In front of you, this is a topic 2 review. So we're going to go over this together. And then you're going to spend the rest of your class time finishing topic 2 on your review. If you do not finish your review, it is homework. Okay? It needs to be done at the beginning of next class. Okay? So topic 2 had to do with adding polynomials and subtracting polynomials is part of it. And then we're going to get into multiplying. So let's first just talk about adding and subtracting. So the first thing we need to make sure we do is know what type of problem it is. Hey, can you turn that page around? We're on this one. Paper in front of you. Paper in front of you. Thank you, Miles.
Oh, I didn't know you passed it out.
Okay? I need you guys to make sure you're paying attention because this test, it's just going to give you polynomials. Daniel, with me? You'll see how I just circled the sign right there on number 1. What kind of problem is this?
Adding.
Okay? Because what sign is in between the parentheses? A plus. Okay? So when you are adding, look at the notes. All you do is combine like terms. You add up the coefficients. You do not change the exponents, okay? That's all it is. This should be an easy problem to get right. So, I do my underlines. 12x squared. X squared is my first term I'm doing. Is there anything else over here with an x squared? In the first parentheses, is there anything?
No.
And the second parentheses, is there something?
Yes.
Yes, so let's underline that. What is the coefficient right here?
1.
All right, add. 12 plus 1 is 13. What makes those terms alike? They both have a x squared. You're done. Finished. Points. Free points. Okay? Now I need to look at the x's. I have 6x and negative 2x.
Can I get a new paper? Just like blue
What is 6 minus 2? 4. 4 what? 4x. What kind of 4x is it? It's positive, so we have to put a sign. Some of you guys were leaving off signs in between. If it is a positive number, you have to put a plus sign right there. Okay? Jahan, what are my last two numbers? What is negative 9 plus 2? That's all you have to do. So if you look at the two parentheses and you see a plus sign in between, you're just adding. Do your underlines, your circles, your boxes. Issa, make sense? Okay? All right, Issa, what kind of problem is number 2? Look at the sign in between. What kind of problem is this? Subtraction. Okay? Now, here's what we have to be careful about subtraction. You have to distribute the minus sign. Now, remember, the minus sign is going to go to everything after it. I suggest rewriting. If you do not distribute this minus sign, this whole problem is going to be wrong. Does the first parentheses change at all?
No.
So let's write that the same. 5x squared plus x plus 6. No change. But the second parentheses, everything that's after that, what do I do with their signs? I change. So if I originally have a positive 9x squared, it's going to become a negative 5x becomes a, and a positive 15 becomes a, and then I just combine like terms from there. So do exactly what we did on problem 1, but you have to get that sign changed. Do you understand? We have to change the sign afterwards. So watch out for that. That's going to be on the test. Okay? Okay. When I combine my x squareds, 5x squared and negative 9x squared. Brayden, what does that combine to be? 5x squared and negative 9x squared is what?
Negative 4x.
Negative 4x
2.
squared. Okay? All right, Miles, what's x and 5x combined to be?
6x.
So I have to put a plus 6x. Heidi, what's 6 and negative 15?
Negative 9.
And we're done. Okay, so should those be super hard problems to do?
No.
No, but you got to watch out for, I would recommend when you get to topic 2, and we'll do it on the review, go ahead and circle those signs and write to the side. Is it addition? Is it subtraction? The other thing we did was multiplication. Multiplication, there's going to be more problems on, okay? And there's more work involved in these. And this is what we learned last time. Are you with me? Okay? Multiplication is when we double distribute, all right? So let's do number 3 together.
Oh, this is that thingy.
This is the split the first parentheses and repeat the second parentheses, okay? So here we go. How do I know that this is a multiplication problem? Because your instructions are not going to say multiply. How do we know that this is not an adding and subtracting problem? There's parentheses are right next to each other, so that implies M, multiplication. Does that make sense? You have to know when it is a multiplication, which this means split and repeat. So let's pull apart the first binomial. What's the first term of the first binomial? What's going to go in the very front, Miles? Thank you, Miles. What's going to go in the very front?
3x.
3x. And then I leave a little space. What's going to go next? Y'all, put the sign with it. That sign is important. If that is a minus sign, that's very important. And then now, the second parentheses, how many times am I going to write that? Twice. 2x minus 3 2x minus 3. Okay? We need to make sure we understand how to do that setup. This is what we did last time. Is everyone good here? Look at me. Tell me if you're good. Are we good? I need to know if we're not good. Then I distribute. How many times do I distribute? 1, 2. Am I done? 3, 4. Okay? When we distribute, what operation are we doing? Multiplying. So, Cruz, is what we learned last time. When you're distributing in, you multiply the big numbers. Can you tell me what 3 times 2 is? 6. Okay, this is a rule we need to make sure we know. What is x times x? Everyone, what is x times x? More than just one person should be able to answer that today. Y'all, hear me out. On these problems, are you listening? Eyes. You should get an x squared term very first thing. Every single one of these multipliers, you should get an x squared. Because it's x to the 1 times x to the 1. And what is 1 plus 1? 2. Okay? Then I multiply 3x times negative 3. Jahan, what is 3 times negative 3? What kind of number is that? 3, negative 9. And then what do I do with that x? Bring it. Bring it over with it because it's 3x times negative 3. The first two, you guys, should be an x squared and then an x every single time. Now, over here, the second distribution is a little bit easier. Okay, Isa, 5 times 2x. What is that? 10, what? 10x. I think you said it. I just didn't hear it. 10x. And then I multiply 5 times negative 3. Nick, what's 5 times negative 3?
Negative 15.
Negative 15. Okay? This is what I want to... Question? X times x is x squared. It's x to the 1 times x to the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay? I want to see all 4 of these terms. But are we finished? What's the last thing we got to do? Combine. The only thing that combines is what? Just the middle. Just the middle. Okay? So final answer. 6x squared does not change. You have to have an x squared term. Negative 9x plus 10x. What's negative 9 plus 10?
1.
So plus 1x. You have to put a 1? No. Minus 15. And you're done. Okay? You are going to have multiple problems that look like this. Multiple. This is the work I need to see. You are also going to have a problem that looks like this. Number 4. 4x minus 5, the whole thing squared. What is the key with this? How many times should you write 4x minus 5? Twice.
Why are we writing it twice?
It has the exponent.
Because it's squared, right? 5 squared is 5 times 5. 8 squared is 8 times 8. 4x minus 5 squared is 4x minus 5 times 4x minus 5.
You got to know how to write that twice. And then it turns into a problem just like all the other ones. But you've got to know, hey, write it twice. Do the thing. Do your split. Be careful right here. The front guy is a 4x. The second term is a negative 5. Y'all, you got to bring that negative sign with it. You got to bring that negative sign with it. So there's the split. What's the repeat? Which one do you write twice? The second one. All right, go. Do this one. And then we're going back to the review. All right, so we distribute 4 times. 4x times 4x is what? 16 squared. Always gonna have an x squared first. Do you hear me? Always. I just said always. That's important. 4x times negative 5. What's that? Negative 20x in the middle. Over here, don't lose that negative sign. Negative 5 times 4x is what kind of number? Negative 20x. And negative 5 times negative 5 Be careful with your signs, you guys. And then we combine in the middle. So I always want to see all those 4 terms, and then I want to see your final combined answer, which will be 16x squared doesn't change. What's negative 20x and negative 20x combined to be? Negative 40x. No. You're just adding in the middle. When you add and subtract, you don't change. It's only in the multiply. Okay? So if you look at the rest of your review, okay, this is what we're going to do for the rest of the class today. Flip over to page 3 of your review. And this is going to be topic 2. So let's circle our signs real quick and write what operation we're going to do. Number 1, what kind of problem is number 1? Subtraction. What kind of problem is number 2? Number 3? Number 4? Number 5? Multiplication. Number 6? It's got a little multiplication and a little subtraction. Okay? Multiplication and subtraction. And then on the bottom of the page, when we're side by side parentheses, what are these? These are multiplying. It also says in the instructions, but I don't think it's going to say it on the test. On the back, still got multiplying, but hey, what are we going to do with 9 and 10 right here? We're going to rewrite it, and we're going to write it twice. Hint, hint. And then we're going to multiply. Okay? And then 13 and 14 are kind of some challenge problems, but we did them in the notes. So that's what we're working on. We are on activity schedule today, so it is over at 10:25, but it's 10:03. So let's spend the rest of the time. I want y'all to work on topic 2 right now. When you finish topic 2, if you need to go back to topic 1. Remember when my tutorials are, if you need anything before Friday, but the expectation is that this is done. This review needs to be done on Friday morning. Here's my tutorial schedule on Canvas. Okay? And then I've got my answer key up here. All right, we're working.